This video is going to be a response to a comment by Slice and Slash. I don't think he'll mind me saying his name because the comment's right there for everybody to see. His comment says, "Hold up, you're saying George Zimmerman isn't white? His mother is from Peru and his father is white. And since Latin isn't a race, doesn't that make him a white Latino? Isn't thinking of him as just Latin playing into white purity standards? A drop of any other ethnicity ends white affiliation. But if some cocky black dude says a drop of his blood makes any other ethnicity he procreates with black, the sisterhood gets up in arms with. And then that's the end. And it says, "Ah, hell no." First off, I'll say that from the first time I laid eyes on George Zimmerman, I thought he was a Latino. And for any of you who may have missed my last video and are going to say that Latino isn't a race, we're past that. But anyway, like I said, from the first day I laid eyes on him, I said, there's a Latino. And then when the news media were calling him white, I was like, why are they calling this dude white? I mean, he doesn't even look like one of the darker white ethnicities like Italian or Spanish. He looks like a Latino. It is true that he has the last name Zimmerman, but sometimes Latinos don't have Latino last names for whatever reason. For example, my dad, he's a Latino. He's black, but he's a Latino. He's from Panama, and half of Panama was under British rule, and the other half, I guess, was under Spanish rule. So the people on the British side have British last names, and the ones on the other side have Spanish last names. And then sometimes Latinos don't have Latino last names for some other reason, like maybe they were adopted. As we all know, there's quite a few white people who like to adopt children from China. Well, when the kids come over here, they don't give them Chinese last names. They may give them a Chinese first name, but the last name will be that of the parents or the adopting parents. Then there's a guy named Lilo Brancato. He's the kid who played Robert De Niro's son in A Bronx Tale. Love that movie, by the way. And also he was on Sopranos for a season. But anyway, to look at that kid, you think, well, there's a perfect Italian. But actually, he's Colombian, and he was adopted by some Italians, and they gave him their name. He doesn't even claim being Colombian. He says he's Italian. But anyway, when we're discussing this issue of accepting mixed race people into one race or the other, we're not really talking about DNA. We're talking about looks. About 40, 50 years ago, when apartheid was still going on, this white South African couple gave birth to a child that looked like a mulatto. And even though this child was the product of two apparently white people, the other whites didn't want to treat this child like it was white. Of course, in the United States, they had the one-drop rule. If you're even 1/16th Negro, you're considered a full Negro. Well, sure, they can say that, but there were no DNA tests back then. So you had people who were more than a 16th black who were passing for white. And they were passing because they looked white. They might have even had a black mama at home, but as long as they looked white, they could pass. So, long story short, what we're really talking about here is looks because you can't see people's DNA. I don't blame white people for not accepting mulattoes into their race because most of the time mulattoes do not look like white people. But they also most of the time don't look like black people either. They look like a mixture of the two. But we've gotten so used to accepting mulattoes into the black race that we forget that actually mixed race people don't look like black people. And of course I mean most of the time. There are exceptions, of course, and I will show you some in just a minute. The reason I'm against accepting mixed race people as black is because the media likes to use those people instead of black people. And when they go to name beautiful black people, especially women, they're always picking the mixed women or women who have features that are not representative of the majority of black women. And that is damaging to black people. No other race has to put up with being represented most of the time by people who don't look like the majority of them. Getting back to the Slash and Slice comment, he writes, "A drop of any other ethnicity ends white affiliation." Actually, that's not true, and it's for reasons I've already stated. It's about the look. There are plenty of actors and other celebrities who are half white and half something else, but because they came out looking white, they're accepted as white. One of them is Keanu Reeves. I think he's half Hawaiian or something like that, maybe Chinese. And some of you might be saying, well, I can see it on him. And I can see it too, but the point is, he doesn't play Hawaiian or Chinese roles, and he doesn't play biracial roles. He's always cast as a white man. Another one, Eddie Van Halen, he's half Asian, I think maybe Chinese. Sarah Paxton is half Mexican. Alex Bledel is half Mexican. Jennifer Tilly and Megan Tilly are half Chinese. Frankie Muniz from Malcolm in the Middle is half Puerto Rican, but of course, since we can't see his father, Puerto Ricans could be anything, so his father could still be white, so that one gets a little asterisk by it. Jessica Alba is half Mexican, but I think she looks it, but still she gets cast as a white person. So anyway, as you can see, being mixed doesn't necessarily get you kicked out of White Town. It's what you look like. And then of course we have people who are on the flip side of that. They're mixed with black and something else, but they came out looking just black. One of them is this cute little boy who's really good at popping and locking. He has a channel here on YouTube, calls himself Baby Boogaloo. I had no idea that kid was mixed until I saw his mother, and she's actually Filipina. The rapper, or I guess he's a singer, Kid Cudi, he's actually half Mexican. But we may need to put a little asterisk next to him too, because we can't see what his father looks like. There actually are mixed race black Mexicans. His father could be one of those, which would explain why he looks more towards the black side, or his father could look like Mario Lopez. We don't know. Wow, I am finding it a lot harder to name people who are mixed with black and something else who look just black. I think I would include Boris Kodjoe in that. Even President Obama, he doesn't scream out to me, mixed, mixed, mixed. I just know that he is. But anyway, getting back to the slice and slash question, dude, you can't be having a name like that. People got lisps and things. Well, anyway, Slice, I'm going to call you Slice. He asked why I called George Zimmerman a Latino instead of a white Latino or a mixed race person. Well, the first reason is because, like I said, when I first saw him, I thought he was a Latino and I did not know he was mixed. Then some of the white people who were getting upset that this guy was being called white instead of Latino, they brought up the fact that he had a Peruvian mother. Well, I had already labeled him a Latino, so I didn't reevaluate his race once I found out that he was mixed. It just wasn't something I was thinking about. But if you know me, you know I usually call people who are mixed race, mixed race. But here's the thing. Even if we were to turn Latino into a race, it wouldn't be comparable to black, white, or Asian because those are three of the original races. Latinos are a created mixed race, and they can be anything from black, brown, to white, or any mix of the three. And you could even throw Asian in there because you got Filipinos. Spanish is a white language spoken by Spanish people in Spain, which is in Europe. And I know y'all know that, but I'm just making a point here. So-called Latino people live in the Americas, North America, Central America, South America. So how did these people who are not in Europe end up speaking a white language? It's because the Spanish men came over and impregnated a whole bunch of the indigenous women. That may have created a new race, but technically those people are mixed. So, since Zimmerman is mixed and Latinos are mixed, technically it's not incorrect to classify him as a Latino, especially since he looks like one. And if his mother's not mixed, if she's pure indigenous, then her mixing with a white man is what a Latino is. So either way, you could make a good case for classifying him as a Latino. You had made the point that if a cocky black man wants to call his mixed-race children black, then the sisterhood has a problem with it. Well, black men aren't the only black people who have mixed-race children. Black women have mixed-race children too, and I don't see any inconsistency in the way the so-called sisterhood classifies them. If they were saying that black women's mixed-race kids were black, but black men's mixed-race kids were something else, then you'd have a point. But I've never seen that inconsistency. And also you have to remember, if black women are telling black men that your mixed-race kids are not black, it's usually in response to black men saying, black women, we don't need you. We can have black kids with any race. And that's when the black women become adamant that no, your kids are mixed. Anyway, hope that answers your question. The comment section is now open. Oh, actually there's one more thing I wanted to say. I'll go ahead and tack it on to the end of this video since it's not long enough to be its own video. Several people left some snarky comments under my Asian businesses in black neighborhoods video. They were saying things like, Asian people are business people. Is it their fault that they can charge so much for an item and black people will still buy it? Okay, listen. The title of the video was not how Asian people rip off black people. It wasn't even how Asian people take advantage of black people. It was called How Asian People Make Big Bucks in Black Neighborhoods. Except for shortchanging and double charging, I didn't say anything was wrong with what the Asians were doing. What you're doing there is just an attempt to miss the point. My video was an FYI video, not an accusation video. I don't think my video is going to change the world, but I can still put the information out there for people who want to hear it. Thank you so much.